The consequences of the coronation. Welcome to Mark and Pete. Here's a thought.
Those who reign and those reigned on. To be a noble royal on British soil means you stand on sacred ground, and with golden foil and regal coil glows the throne as you are crowned. With spouting gargoyle then comes the spoil, as endless opulence is sprayed all around. With too much toil and plenty of anointed oil, the poor public is constitutionally drowned. Yes, well, we have seen that millions of people across the United Kingdom and around the world have celebrated the coronation of King Charles III, a majestic and symbolic ceremony combining religious service and pageantry. Now, as many will see, that when you looked at this particular event, the ceremony was held at Westminster Abbey. For those inside, it was lovely and dry. For those outside, it was pouring with rain. Clergyman Pete, I ask you, when you look at the Constitution, when you look at the ceremony, was it worth it? And more importantly, what is your view on the monarchy for the future?
Well, looking at this event, we see the pageantry and the beautiful golden coach that the king rides in, and the many soldiers marching in serried ranks and be able to turn on a sixpence and form into different shapes, and just amazing pageantry, the way that Britain does well. And it's this sort of traditional event which raises people's love for their country. For British people, this is a big event, and so I think it was well worth it. I think that this reminds people, yes, we're British, and I, on the way to the studio today, was stymied on coming here because there was still a street party going in full swing on my way here after the coronation. Yes, we're shortly after the coronation as we talk now, and
lots of coronation quiche, yum yum.
Yes, I could hear them chomping on it as I made my way past them. None of them threw it at me. But the importance of the royal family for this country is exactly that. It's part of the culture. It's part of the waft and weave of the country. It's the way that we do things. And if it has to be explained, the way that we do things, then it means you're not really British. People who are British can see it, even Republicans. Now, for our US and other overseas listeners, by a Republican in this country, we mean someone who is against having royalty. It's not a political party. It's a political point of view, but it's not a political party. And they don't seem to have very good arguments. The arguments that tend to be given are, in fact, the one I hear most is, it's too expensive. It isn't much of an argument. And so the reason that's their best argument is other arguments like we don't want one just aren't true. We do want it. We want there to be a king, and we want him to be posh and a bit out of touch, but we want him to be a good person. I mean, that's part of being British. So, yeah, I think that having the royal family there in some form is important for England and Britain to remain the country that they are, and remember, it's been a very successful country. So we want to retain that. But also, why should we lose it? For no reason. And the arguments over expense are irrelevant, because what I'm talking about is keeping the country, the culture of the country, such that it's successful. So, and that includes wealth. So you can't do a straight calculation, we spent this much on it, how much do we get back? It's the overall wealth, including cultural wealth of the country, that you're talking about. So I think it's a good thing, and I think this event, the coronation itself, was a very good thing for the country to draw people together, to remind them that they are British and that they care for each other, whether or not they said the Pledge of Allegiance, as people were invited to do at a certain point in the ceremony. I think they, underneath, did have allegiance to the king.
Yes. Well, I think that that is true. Now, we do know that this particular ceremony really featured a lot of customs that dated back for more than 1,000 years. There were also some modern elements to it. There was a gospel choir, and there were many other things that they did. But I think that the one thing that we can touch upon, just to sort of look at this event, is that there were different audiences that were perhaps not quite so in favor of the monarchy. There were people who were protesting, in most of them peacefully, not all, but that sort of is simply, you would expect somebody to rain on somebody's parade there. But here's my take on this. I agree with you that essentially the principle of what the monarchy offers for Britain is of values, not just about the religion and not just about the constitution, but I think that Charles has something as an opportunity, and this is what I think that we need to get to close out on this, which is he's got an opportunity not just to sort of modernize the royal family, but to focus on Britain. Britain has lost its way, and we need an authority figure, somebody who can bring experience and something of credibility and recognition, not just within the country, but globally, where we can start to focus on the things that really matter. So we've talked about family, we've talked about, the importance of allegiance and many other things. Now, whether you pay homage to a particular individual or to an institute, etc., that's open for debate. But the point here is, what is Britain? And I think that this is where I would hope that Charles does not lose one thing, and that is bring his opinions to the table. Ultimately, I think that Charles has an opportunity to be much more visible and to get amongst the communities. He wants to learn and understand what is needed, and I very much hope that he will continue on that path to do so and give people the guidance and the benefit of his experience. But that's what I want. I want him to give his opinions and to help the nation. It desperately needs it.
Yes, I think you're right there, Mark. And just from a religious point of view, looking at the main Bible reading, which I have in front of me, the main Bible reading from the coronation service, the Gospel reading from Luke chapter 4, verses 16 to 21, is talking about Jesus going into the Sabbath at the start of his going to the synagogue on the Sabbath, right at the start of his ministry, and he opens a book to do the Bible reading for the day, and in it is a quote from Isaiah, prophet in the Old Testament, and he says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted and preach deliverance to the captives." Now that's, of course, Jesus, the true King. And in this ceremony, there was an oath that Charles had to make, the saying of the oath led by the Archbishop of Canterbury, in which he promised to keep the true gospel. This is the essence of the gospel, that the Spirit of the Lord comes, Jesus comes, and sets people free. The poor are set free, the brokenhearted are set free, the captives are set free. And so, as the king under the true king, I think that is Charles's job, to deliver people who are held captive by the strange culture that we live in, and just he can set it free by giving a lead as king, and to care for the poor, yes, to the poor in his own kingdom, rather than some strange, esoteric, impractical notion of the poor that seems to be the focus of people in government at the moment. So he can set a lead, and I believe he's called to do that. I think the Bible reading speaks to this as well. So I agree with you, as you were saying, though, just applying this Bible reading to it. And I think when we look at the words of Jesus there, he finishes by saying, "This day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears." So Jesus will say, "I am here now," as in God has come to change things. And when King Charles was crowned today, he promised allegiance, as we promised allegiance to him. He promised allegiance to the true king. I think that's the way to end this episode. So thanks very much for listening. Don't forget, there's more of Mark and Pete to come next week. So don't forget to tune into us and listen once again. Bye for now.